Hello and bonjour, Canada. My name is Daniel Kaplan, and I'm a fourth-year business student at York University.
As Canada's next great Prime Minister, I would focus on improving the economy, implementing policies that would sustain our environment, and strengthening our culture through increased support for our local artists.
The most pressing problem that is on Canadians' minds right now is the looming recession that was brought on by a lack of regulation and transparency in the American financial sector.
Canada's banks have actually fared quite well as a result of strong regulations imposed by government and Canadians' more modest spending habits.
However, as many Canadian banks moved towards subprime lending before the crisis began, we were also quite lucky to come out so unscathed. As Canada's Prime Minister, I would ensure that the government maintains strong regulatory control over the private sector while still allowing it enough room to grow and prosper. For instance, I would amalgamate Canada's provincial securities regulators into a nationwide body. This would level the reporting standards that corporations must follow across the country, promote interprovincial commerce, as well as ensure that the federal government has the final say on important issues that can affect the Canadian economy. Canada's current economic situation is also due in large part to our overdependence on American trade. While it is easy to say that I would reduce this dependence by increasing trade with Asian and European countries,
the only way to actually accomplish this goal is to encourage foreign countries to want to trade with Canada.
My solution would be to follow the model of several European countries, such as Sweden and Finland. As Prime Minister, I would target key industries where Canada has a competitive advantage and reduce our dependence on non-competitive industries. The decline of the Canadian auto sector has caused a drastic spike in the unemployment rate in Windsor and damaged the entire province of Ontario. Rather than spending tax dollars to try and win back American auto companies that have mistreated our Canadian workers and kept all profits out of our country, I would bolster a Canadian industry that has the potential for large growth. Canada's forestry products contribute the most to our balance of trade, yet we continue to export low value-added products such as paper and unprocessed wood. Through tax cuts and grants, I would help to rejuvenate Canada's furniture industry to add more value to our lumber products. Due to Canada's abundance of lumber, we would offer competitively priced wooden furniture, diversify our trade with Asian and European countries, and generate jobs that could be filled by our unemployed auto workers.
While I have great ambitions for Canada's economic prosperity, a strong economy is of little value if our quality of life is poor. One of the greatest factors that will affect Canadians' quality of life over the next decades is the preservation of our environment. I've had enough of politicians flip-flopping on environmental policies.
The Liberals brought forth the idea of raising gasoline taxes at the last election, and I completely agree with this policy. Nothing in life is free, and Canadians cannot expect to reduce our emissions without paying for it. Under my plan, the increased tax revenue from gasoline would be directly invested in improving Canada's public transportation system, with a focus on building high-speed train routes between major cities.
If we truly believe in reducing our carbon footprint, we need to stop talking about it and start acting on it. As a musician, I believe that the arts are the twine that bind our country together and improve the social and cultural character of Canada. However, during recessionary periods, the arts are often one of the first sectors to receive funding cuts. In my opinion, this is the most important time to give financial support to our artists. As Prime Minister, I would increase funding to the Canada Council for the Arts and create new programs that brought Aboriginal and well-respected artists into schools to teach our youth another aspect of Canadian culture.
I would also fund the creation of a Canada-wide art roadshow that would bring musicians, visual artists, actors, and the like to Canadian cities, both large and small, to encourage our citizens to relax and enjoy the wealth of culture that Canada has to offer.
So Canada, if you want to see our nation achieve economic prosperity, reduce its carbon footprint, and strengthen its social and cultural foundations through the arts, then please support me, Daniel Kaplan, as Canada's next great Prime Minister.